Okay, hello, my name is Jake, and I'm going to be refuting their plan of action. They say that, my opponents say that they want to legalize marijuana for recreational use for people under or over the age of 21, and that sale to minors will be illegal. In areas where marijuana has become legal, like Denver, Colorado, the use of teens and youth aged from 12 to 17 years old, their medical marijuana use in 3 years after medical marijuana was commercialized in 2009 compared to the 3 years prior was 26% higher. And from 2011 to 2013, there was a 57% increase in emergency room visits related to marijuana, and hospitalizations related to marijuana have increased by 82%. And most of these hospitalizations are for young kids who are able to get their hands on their parents' marijuana, whether they leave it out in the open or they don't have effective childproofing on them. They say that they want all prisoners and jail inmates to be released if they were convicted for marijuana use and possession only, excluding trafficking, distribution, and probation violations. This is less than 1% of the prison population. It is, according to the Bureau of Justice Statistics, a survey done in 2004 of inmates in state correctional facilities, inmates incarcerated only on marijuana charges totaled 0.8% of the total prison population, and marijuana-only possession offenders with no prior sentences totaled only 0.1% of the population. The numbers that they were giving they failed to state that the numbers that they give are for people who are incarcerated for other crimes, and they have marijuana charges thrown on top of it. So just because marijuana was involved doesn't mean that that's the only thing, or that the police are solely going after people with marijuana. They want production in small quantities to be legal, with unpermitted sale illegal. In Colorado, they have what are known as caregivers, and they are people who are they are only required to be 15 years or older and have, quote, significant responsibility for managing the well-being of a patient who has a debilitating medical condition. And so basically they grow plants for people who are who have medical licenses. And unfortunately, they have a 5-patient cap, but caregivers can seek waivers for more patients to grow for. And because some patients have authorizations for high numbers of hot plants, a handful of caregivers have significant growing operations. And they are able to sell their medical marijuana to their patients at a 0.9% tax rate, while recreational pot carries a 25% state tax in addition to local taxes. And because they are exempt from the commercial requirements, they're basically, and they're exempt and they get waivers for more patients. They're able to have as many plants as some commercial growers and not have to pay the taxes or the fines or the fees required to get your commercial license. Okay, so in addition to there being an increase in hospitalizations for marijuana related, whether they had too many edibles or smoked too much, and they decided that they needed to go to the hospital or somebody stepped in. There are actually some dangers from different productions at THC extraction labs. They are fairly prone to explosions. The Rocky Mountain High Intensity Drug Trafficking Area in 2014 stated that in Colorado for 2013, there were 12 reported THC extraction lab explosions and 18 reported injuries. And in the first 6 months of 2014, there were 26 confirmed explosions and 27 reported injuries. These are not things that are harmless, and youth usage has increased rapidly. The same organization stated that in 2006, Colorado was ranked 14th in the nation for past month marijuana usage among youth, and by 2012, they had increased to number 4 in the nation. Now, this brings about another issue, the fact that marijuana does affect brain development, especially in youth. The more that they smoke and the younger that they start affects a few areas of the brain, including the prefrontal cortex. And while there is no standard for testing, or there's no consensus on how much it affects you or how bad it is, the fact is that it does affect the brain development. And since we don't know how bad it is, we cannot continue to legalize it in more states until we have a better census of how bad it is.